TV and stage actor Sello Maake kaNcube has hit the right note with his latest play, The Voice, which tackles the issue of gender-based violence. The show opened late last year at the Joburg Theatre for 2 days and it was sold out. It's been brought back for another run at the Soweto Theatre from the 27th of January to the 30th due to popular demand. The veteran actor, as well as actress Tiny Modise, was one of the leads in the play. Both join us to share more. Tiny and Sello, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning. Good morning, Simpure.
Good to have you both on the show. Thank you so much for joining us indeed. Now, Sello, I'm going to start with you. The industry and the country is reeling from the sudden passing of Dr. Shai. Just share your thoughts with us and the kind of impact this has had on the arts landscape. And take us back, if you can, to how well you know Mr. Shai.
No, thank you, Simpure. It is really a very, very, very sad moment. You know, in South Africa, it started yesterday. And, you know, I first met Patrick, I think it was in 1987, and it was after the performance of a play called Soweto, which he, you know, gave a mesmerizing performance. And actually, from that time on, he was my inspiration. And then later on, you know, we got familiar with each other and we even discovered that, you know, he's related to the Maakes, and somehow one of his, like his grandfather's other name is my Christian name, which I'm not going to mention, lest people, you know, make fun of it. It's not a bad name, but, you know, it's an okay name, you know, because I was named after my grandfather, but he was, he also discovered that his grandfather, you know, I shared the same grandfather and then the same name with his grandfather, and he used to call me Rahulu. Because of that, and I used to call him Mutolo, you know, and that carried on up until today, or even, you know, up until, you know, his life. I mean, well, you know, until he was still alive. And yeah, it is a sad moment, man, and it is a loss to the country. You know, it is a loss in the creative industry. It is a loss in society, because beyond just being an actor. Shai was an activist on the gender-based violence issues. And if anybody has been in the presence of him telling about his experience, you know, during a gender-based violence dialogue, they will know how moving and how passionate he was about the issue. You know, but yeah, that's, you know, it is a great loss, and I am myself, you know, I'm without words, really, to be honest. You know, it's always difficult, I think, to speak after, you know, somebody has passed on. It's really, really, really difficult.
And especially if they pass on so suddenly and so unexpectedly. Yeah. Now, Tiny, I want to bring you into this conversation. Do you want to share your reflections on the passing of Patrick Shai?
Yeah, I mean, it hurts so much because we just met and started working with Mr. Sello. And you know, when you start working with a legend and you start thinking that I'm going to meet all these legends, I'm going to suck all the wisdom and information from them. And then this is so sad because we were still looking forward to meeting and working with him.
Yeah. Now, Sello, let's now talk about the play. Why a gender-based violence play and the message being put across?
It is put across through song and dance. And for me, I think it's an extension of the journey that I had taken, you know, as far back as 1998 when I created Komen, which was a play that dealt with men's perspective on the issue, and you know, essentially dealing with toxic masculinity. And so, you know, and it has always been my wish that I should actually work on a piece that involved you know, a woman's voice, you know, and the voice basically just came as that, you know, and it's predominantly women. And, you know, the play is, the message is delivered through song and dance, and it chronicles, I think, our history from, you know, colonization up until the present, and how colonization has actually contributed, you know, to the breakdown of the African family.
Now, Tiny, I mean, for you, how has it been being a part of the play and working alongside industry heavyweights such as Sello Maake kaNcube?
Well, it brings joy to my heart working with him, but mostly working with the stuff that he writes, because that the Sello Maake kaNcube can write things that you can reflect on. And just as Abafazi Bengoma, as a band, we are a band that's from Soweto, and we don't just use our band to perform. So we've told ourselves that we want to use the band to do social stuff, to do, to bring platforms to local people so that, people can have access to a lot of things. So us being in this show and doing this GBV show with him, and after even we have lost one of our members through violence in the band. So it just feels like a calling. That's something we should be doing. As we are healing, I think we will be healing other people out there.
Yeah.
It just feels like a healing session. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us more about your character.
Well, we play and portray ordinary women that have went through these things, Lokshin. So I'm playing, I'm telling somebody's story who is something that has happened to somebody. So we're not actually acting out, but we are just voicing what women go through out there.
I quite like that. Now, Prasilo, I've just heard Tiny say that it's not actually an act, but they are voicing what women go through out there. And it's an all-female cast, young ladies and fairly new in the industry. So what is the importance of opening up the industry?
It is so, the importance, Simpiwe, it is so, I mean, it is of grave importance that actually we pass on the baton, first and foremost. But also I think, it is important that we pass on the baton in such a way that we actually teach, I think, good ways of dealing with the arts, because sometimes you find people who teach performance or teach performing arts in such a way that they're not improving on the craft. And I think the experience that I have, I actually feel that it is time for me to pass on the baton, and I think in the best way that I had. And I have experienced, I think, basically like different approaches to theatre. I've been through Gibson Kente, and from Gibson Kente, I mean, you sort of like, moved on to what Mbongeni Ngema did with Woza Albert. And then later on, even, went even to performing Shakespeare. So there's this, wealth of experience that I've gathered. And also, I think, worked with international actors like the Donald Sutherland's, worked with Morgan Freeman and Danny Glover. Yeah. So I think my approach to the craft and to the performing arts is really well informed. And I think it is, important to bring young people because, at the end of the day, but you know what I mean? And so, it is important to pass on the baton, and so that the legacy of, the history and the legacy of our performing arts just goes on. I will only be happy if I get to the point where I will actually establish a performing arts academy. Yes, but I've already started with incubations, and part of the cast are young people who I have trained in an incubation that I did in in Carltonville. Sure. So the journey goes on, and the passing on of a good DNA, I would say, is on.
The journey is definitely on. And Prasilo, unfortunately and quite sadly, the momentum around gender-based violence seems to only heighten around November, and after that it seems to die down. So as performing artists, so what your role should be as a Sello Maake kaNcube, as a Tiny Modise, Patrick Shai, and a whole host of other artists. So what should your role be in terms of keeping the momentum going with regards to raising awareness and playing an advocacy role in the fight against gender-based violence?
And thank you for the question, Simpiwe. In fact, the way we have constructed the voice, we have constructed in such a way that we should be able to perform it in outdoor spaces. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we are going to be doing would be, going and performing at taxi ranks and, all the other open spaces that will be available for us so that we pass on the message there and engage, people there. In fact, on the opening night of the 27th, I'm going to be making a presentation of how we intend, basically trying, because this is just an attempt towards delivering the anti-GBV message, on a 365 days, program. And, we won't be being able to make 365 days, but at least, should we get the necessary support, from the taxi ranks and from government and, other institutions, we are definitely going to be taking the message on to people, engaging them, and at best, getting the whole country on a movement towards creating a better society for all of us.
Sure. All right, Brasileiro, thank you so much for joining us. And Tiny, understand that the show was sold out last year and is coming back for the second run. Just give us more details about this play.
So the play will be running at the Soweto Theatre, at the Red Theatre. It's going to be on the 27th, 8th, 9th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. And then on the 30th, on Sunday, it's going to be at 3 p.m. with a panel of people that we will be talking about GBV and everything like that. So it's going to be very much exciting. So those are the shows, and it's only $100 per show.
Okay, we're certainly looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining us, Tiny Modise, and Sello Maake kaNcube. Lovely chatting to you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Simpiwe. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Now, The Voice is a play by Sello Maake kaNcube which tackles the issue of gender-based violence. We just spoke to him and one of the actresses there, Tiny Modise. It's 8 o'clock.